Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is quite an exciting one because I've teamed up with Sugar Bytes and audio plugin deals to bring you a promotion on Aparillo. So from the 4th of March to the 17th of March, you can get 60% off Aparillo from audio plugin deals. So that brings it from an MSRP of $99 down to $39.99, which in my mind, as you'll soon find out, is, in my opinion, a no-brainer price for sure. So I'll put the link in the description. That will take you to audio plugin deals where you can get this deal. Then I would say if you're watching it in the future after that date, still give it a demo because it is fantastic and I would say even worth the MSRP of $99. So without further ado, let's get started. I will also need to say that it is such an immense instrument that there's no way I can possibly cover it off or do it any justice whatsoever in, say, 10 or 15 minutes. And to that end, it's quite unassuming actually because the interface looks relatively simple, and that's just testament to the way that Sugar Bytes have packed everything in. So for an in-depth view, I recommend go to the Sugar Bytes YouTube channel, and there's an excellent series there by Tom Cosm, so I would recommend checking that out. But to give you an example of how it sounds, let's try and create something, and I'll explain the features or a fraction of them as we progress. So at its core, it's essentially a 2-operator FM synth. However, saying that, it's dramatically underselling it. So we have the different algorithms here. Essentially, algorithm 1, you have operator 1 and 2 completely independent, and then algorithms 2 and 3, there are interdependencies between operator 1 and 2, but discussing them is far beyond the scope of this video, so let's just stick with algorithm 1 for now. Let's turn the ARP up, let's turn it all the way up to max, and the ratio, let's turn it up to 1/16, like so. So that's just a basic sine wave, nothing special. Let's turn operator 1 up a bit to introduce the harmonics. So you can see how that sounds when we get to the very top. Might make sense to assign that to the ARP. If we go down to ARP envelope, let's turn it down a bit because we want that to be the maximum up here. We have unipolar and bipolar modes. Let's keep it unipolar for now. So next we'll look at the shift, which is over here. Again, we can modulate that from pretty much any source. Let's put this one on LFO2. And over to the right here, we have different scales for the quantize. So let's put this one on, let's start with minor, let's say. If we don't turn on the quantize, you can see that they're infinitely variable from one note to the next. Whereas if we turn on quantize, you can see that they snap to the next one. Let's turn this on to unipolar, turn it up a bit. So now that we've assigned it to LFO2, let's actually click across to LFO2. And at this point, it's sensible to explain what this window in the middle means. These are essentially each one of the 16 voices. So you can see that the dark green in the background, that's LFO1. But if we have LFO2 here, and then we turn the rate, you can see that these little balls start moving up. So this is the rate for LFO2. So if we put this on 1/16, for example, or we go down something like 1 bar. Currently, with the jitter off, you can see that they're all going at exactly the same speed. But if we turn jitter up, if we go to 50%, for example, you can see that each one of them is completely independent. So each voice has a different rate of modulation. We can then do the same for the phase mod. That's the relationship between each of them. And then we can turn the jitter up. Let's turn that up to full random as well, which is 50%. And let's give it a bit of sample and hold also. Currently the modulation is being applied to all of the voices, but instead of doing all, let's go through. We have even, odd, thirds, then the lower, and then the uppers. skip over to the FX section quickly. The parameters on the left I'll get to in a second. I just want to add in the meantime just a bit of delay. So let's go 1/8. Turn the mix up. Bit of reverb. Next, let's have a look at the format. There's a wave folder down here as well. Let's just add a touch of brightness to it. So it's starting to sound like something. I think the plucks are a little bit too short, so we can increase them by turning up the decay here. So I think it needs a bit more grit, and we can do that by adjusting the ratio on also operator 1. So let's assign that one to LFO 1, which it already is. Over to LFO 1. Bit of jitter. The collision mode actually is really cool. So you can see that these balls are going up, but if we have collision mode on, you can see that once it hits the other LFO, it will automatically bounce back. So it's being restricted by the second LFO. It's such a cool mode. Let's now move to operator 2. Let's also assign operator 2 to the up envelope. It's starting to sound a bit messy, a lot of clashing there, which obviously we don't want. But if we look up next to the 3 FM modes, we have the different harmonic types. So we have off, quantized, and then harmonic. Harmonic one is really quite nice. Moving over to the effects, we have many different filters here, which all sound excellent. Let's go down to the comb. Next to that we have what's called a Spatializer with different modes here, so large, medium, small, pitch and then sync. We can just turn it into a complete wall of sound. Absolutely huge. Skip it on pitch. We already have some panning going, as you can hear. And then once we have a sound that we like, we can go to the orbit page, and then we can modulate all these parameters by this little ball in the middle here. Just choosing ones at random for now. You can then record these mouse movements in, or you can completely randomize everything. So if we do randomize the objects. And as you can see, I'm getting lost once again. It is such a fun synth. So let's play that back now with a bit of context, with a bit of kick and bass, just a little bit of a loop that I put together for the purposes of this project. So as I said at the start, it is quite an unassuming little synth, but once you start delving into it, it's capable of some just fantastic sounds. And at 60% off, frankly, I think that's a no-brainer. So, as always, demo it first though, just to be sure, and then head on over to Audio Plugin Deals before the 17th of March to pick it up. As I said, I'll put a link in the description should you wish to do that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.